Welcome to Asaf and Friends, episode 3. And once again, I'm super excited to have you with me. Today, we're having another fantastic guest with us, Raj Kapoor, who is a very well-known blockchain legend. I'm really honored to have him with me today. This episode will be once again live streamed on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn simultaneously, and will be later made available as a podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, and Stitcher. But again, before we get started, this is my disclaimer. I'm a full-time employee of Microsoft. Nothing shared today represents Microsoft's view in any shape or form. It represents only my very own personal view. With no further delay, let's just jump straight into this and welcome my amazing guest, Raj Kapoor. Hey, Raj, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Asaf. Once again, it's always nice to see you and always nice to speak with you. Thanks for having me in. I'm sure we're all going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm sure we will have a great chat. And let me really help the audience a little bit with your very own introduction. Raj, who are you?
My introduction, all right. Raj Kapoor, a name easy to remember, especially in India. It's the name of a very famous film star. I was named after him. Of course, he was there about 2 decades prior to me, but still. Been in the blockchain space 11 years now, enjoying every moment. I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate what I'm doing. And guys, this is just the beginning of my journey. It's been 11 years, but I always say I'm still learning. And guys, I'm sure all of you are. And we work right across India. We work in Nigeria. We work in Africa. We work in so many places. And I have friends all over. Now I have Asaf right in front of us. So it's helped me actually create my own blockchain, my own human blockchain, where I met all the best humans of my life right through the last 11 years. Asaf being the latest link in the chain.
That's a wonderful introduction. And when we got to know each other, I was immediately intrigued by your experience and your story and your vast impact that you have across different areas. So before we go into that space, tell me, what is your blockchain and crypto story? Every one of us has it, right?
Yeah.
My,
Well,
my, my story goes back to, 2015, 16 with a baby on my arm, really being super, super tired, not having time to sleep, browsing through the web at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I went like, wow, what is this? What is your story, Raj?
well, it's a bittersweet story, I would say. You know, in 2010 December, I was with my wife. We were traveling to a destination, and unfortunately, we had a car wreck. We had a car accident, and
Mm,
I lost my wife in 2010. That was the lowest point of my life, I guess, because we were married for the last 18 years prior to that, and we had a kid. And my kid was in the United States. She had just gone to United States for further studies, and I said we were to go there for Christmas. And that was the first thing which it came to my head is, thank God my kid was not with me, and I lost my wife right next to me. We were sitting next to each other. It was one of the lowest point. Then I went to States. I had, of course, I was pretty depressed, yes, but I think my daughter and I, we sat down together and said, let's move on. We got to move on. We don't have a choice. That was to be her first Christmas in the United States, and mine too. Anyways, while I got her settled, and she had a lot of her friends. She was having a party one day, and one of my colleagues told me, "Guys, what are you doing?" Now, I told him this is what I do, and he took me to his office. I got a small project. We got going. We became good friends. 19th December 2010. He took me to his mining farm. He says, "Listen, we got a little farm here. Why don't you learn a little mining?" I said, "I have no clue what you're talking about." So he actually had a little farm. He had a couple of friends. He had all these big computers, really hot it was. I remember. I remember the first time I stepped in, and he says, "This is what you do." I said, "Okay." To take my mind off a lot of things, I said, "Well, anything is better than doing nothing." And that's when my journey started. It was the 19th of December 2010 when I actually said I started mining my own Bitcoins. And that's how my journey started. That's why I still call that speculation, because Bitcoin, I still feel speculative. But that set me on a path when I actually did a lot of deep dive research into what is the underlying technology which is actually driving such a phenomenon. And that took me to blockchain. So my journey, as I said, is from speculation to revolution. Speculation being the Bitcoin, revolution being the blockchain. So that's how it really started.
yeah, Raj, first things first. Thanks for sharing such an authentic and personal story. It doesn't happen very often, and particularly not people in this scene when they're doing live streams and going on YouTube and what have you. So thanks very much for sharing, and my feelings go out to you, and also my big respect, particularly that you've been getting yourself out of a very, very, very traumatizing situation. And whenever we spoke together in the last few weeks, you were always so upbeat and so positive.
Yeah.
And I must say, I only have admiration, and I can learn from you. And it makes me feel even wanting to be more in touch with you and learn from you. So thanks very
Any,
much.
anytime. Well, the good part to the story still is that I got married once again. But 5 years later, I got married once again, and I have a wonderful partner who encouraged me and stood by me when the whole world was telling me, "What are you doing? This blockchain, crypto? What is this? It's just a fad. It's not gonna last." She stood by me and said, "Listen, you guys, you got to follow your dream," and that's what I told her. I'm following my passion, and she till today becomes my second rock. So I've been very fortunate that in my both marriages, I've had fantastic support partners, and I think that has been my success story.
Outstanding. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. So you are a founder of the India Blockchain Alliance. And if you are in this space, we've heard a lot about cryptos being banned in India, unbanned in India, central bank digital currencies coming and going. However, many projects are under development in India. Do you
Yes.
mind telling my audience a little bit more, a reality check, what is going on in India in terms of,
Right.
cryptos, blockchain, DeFi? Give us a little bit of an insight
Sure.
firsthand.
Absolutely. I'd love to share that because it's something which is very close to my heart. Well, this is a circus which has been going on since the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
Well,
indeed.
we ban them, we unban them, somebody overrules, the courts overrule, and then we curse them, we love them. It's a love-hate relationship, I would say. Now, you know what happens? The good thing, let's focus on the positives in the last few years. We can always criticize everything. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But let's try and look and pick out the positives. I'm a positive guy, so I'm trying to look at the positives always, right? So initially, when the bill was going to be put in front of the parliament, it was banning crypto.
Yeah.
Now, that is about 2 years back, amid all the chaos of COVID, etc., etc. Anyway, it is called banning cryptos or virtual digital currencies. That word has now gone from banning to regulations.
Yeah.
That's been a beautiful journey. It's no longer banning. It's not on the table right now. You never know what comes back, but it's right now it's off the table. So what do we have now? It's regulating. That is a big move, especially in a nation as large as ours, where we have such diverse people, cultures, and people. Half the people saying good, half people saying bad, yay, nay, all sorts of things. So therefore, I think there's a very big move, paradigm shift from banning to this. Now, also, the second thing recently, and this got implemented just on the 1st of April, was that we actually taxed crypto trading. Now,
Mhm.
prior to this, we weren't even clear whether we would be allowed to do trading, whether trading would be banned in entirety, and that didn't happen. That's a good thing. Well, you're acknowledging that there is something called crypto trading, yes. However, you want to classify it, you can classify it later on, no problem, but let's tax it. That's one part. When you tax anything, it becomes more tangible. We can still ban it. It's nothing to say that nobody will ban. Nobody can ban it, but it is some tangibility. Although the tax bracket is pretty high, not many people are very happy with it. Well, we can take it a little with a pinch of salt, guys. Nothing comes easy in life, and this is just another example. Or it's not going to come very easily because there's a lot of debate around many aspects of the bill. The primary one being money laundering. Anti-money laundering is one of the key things which we are looking at because we all know how we can use how blockchain has been used in the past and could be used in the future also to bypass regulatory strictures. So that's one. The second is terrorist funding, and the third, identity, KYCs. How do we build all of those to get provenance, to get security, to get authenticity, and therefore traceability? That's one of the reasons. Now, traceability, I take a leap out of the traceability bit. You know what? The finance ministry says let's put up a traceable coin, virtual digital asset or a virtual digital coin, what they call it, what we call now the CBDC or the central bank digital currency. Now, it's a great idea, but it is not a replacement for cryptocurrencies.
Mhm.
I don't think we can replace it. I think they can coexist. Most people say, no, nothing can coexist. Guys, we've been coexisting with each other for years, so why not currencies? Right? So I think that while India talks about CBDC, there are two scenarios which may emerge. And I'm not speculating here, I'm just thinking from the government's perspective as well as both counterpoints. The government might say, let's take out our own CBDC, and then we will talk about banning other virtual digital assets. Could be a possibility. The other possibility would be, of course, they can coexist, but for that, we need regulations. We need regulatory frameworks. We don't have them
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And another thing in that direction, I know that for sure that the Securities and Exchange Board of India, that is like the SEC of the US, is very closely monitoring crypto and could be the official regulatory body or the watchdog. just like they are for the other stock markets. And they would probably step in and say, okay, let's experiment with regulation. Yes, we may not have too many of these, these meme coins and all coming in, that's for sure. And we will definitely not have, for the moment, people purchasing anything from Bitcoin or other stable coins. That may not be there, but there would be a coexistence and there will be some parity going forward from now. We are experimenting in the next couple of months on the CBDC. We see how that works. If that works well, we roll it out in the 22, 23. That's what the plan is. Make it delayed. There will be hiccups. It took China 4 years to actually have their digital currency out.
Yeah.
It took Nigeria a couple of years as well. So there are going to be iterations. It's going to be a beautiful journey, but let's enjoy the journey and we'll wait for the destination. Then we'll enjoy the destination.
Yeah, and I am a very big advocate and supporter of regulation. I absolutely welcome that, and particularly, I celebrated yesterday my 10th hacked invested project, right? That went absolutely to zero, right? And that is one of the reasons why I really believe regulation is needed, right? It is absolutely needed. We need to know what's happening in the market. We need to understand where things are going to, why are they being used, what are they being used for, and also, the entire NFT hype that we have been seeing. Some pixel pictures being pumped into millions and millions and millions of dollars, and if you understand a little bit on-chain analytics, right, you can actually backtrace it, that they were sold between the wallets of the individual, just pump up the value, and you can call it so-called almost like money laundering, and then dump it on the market, right?
Yes. No, regulations are a must. Just like we follow traffic lights. Why do we follow them?
Yeah.
To avoid accidents. The same thing. It's not much different.
Yeah. Hey, listen. When we started chatting, right? You introduced yourself to me. If I would write a book, it would be called From Speculation to Revolution. Now, we spoke partially about the speculation aspects and as well as your mining journey. Help me to understand what you do call a revolution and what you're foreseeing.
Right. So I'll start again from my speculation journey. Mining was one part of it. I did trading after that. I did a little bit of front running as well, which I didn't like because I did not know at that time it was not exactly legal. Right? So I did not do any more of that after that. But yes, guilty on one count at one point, yes. But that time, there were early days. We never knew what we were doing, really. We didn't know what we were getting into. When I came back in 2018, I stayed on for some time with my daughter, came back in 2018, and I started talking about blockchain, because by that time I had realized that blockchain is really something which is impacted. Now, the first question which I was asked, and I still am asked even today, is, hey guys, shall I invest in Bitcoin? Seriously, guys? Well, I'm talking blockchain, you're talking Bitcoin. Are we talking two different languages? So then I said, well, let's bring some parity there. Let's make people understand that Bitcoin and crypto are great use cases of blockchain, but they are not the blockchain in itself, and they're not interchangeable. And that's when my journey really started off. And I said, okay, now I always believed that there would be this blockchain would be revolutionary for two reasons. One, when we talk about distributed ledgers, it's a very simple, age-old formula which we've actually been following throughout our lives. How? If I ask you, Asaf, you got $1,000, where are you going to invest it? Are you going to invest it all in one place, or you're going to distribute your investments? You're going to distribute them.
I am definitely going to distribute it, right?
You're not going to buy just one stock or one share, even if it's Microsoft. But you'll say, right, let me buy it 5, 6, spread the risk, right? We've been doing it for ages and donkey's years. So nothing new, really. But from a technology perspective, yes, it showed us, yes, we could actually distribute data, keep it in different boxes and silos. That made sense. It's just like saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a simple thing. You put your eggs in one basket, you're going to break some, lose some. Somebody steal the whole damn basket. And now imagine putting all the different eggs in different baskets. It's just as simple or as easy as that. Our grandparents have been teaching us, our generations have been teaching us. Now we've just put some structure around that, some little bit of compliance or structure. So when I said that this is fantastic because this actually solves lots of problems, including getting a lot of unbanked people into the system, so on and so forth. Moreover, I don't call it just an information technology. I call it an institutional technology. It has the power of an institution. It has the power to reward. It has the power to monetize. It creates economies. Today we talk about tokenomics. What is tokenomics? Economies of blockchain. And that I think is revolutionary because no other technology actually gives you these opportunities. And we have seen this. You just trace back to digital 1995 when the internet boom came. After that, how many brick and mortar companies went for a toss and they were replaced. Today, just trace back 3 years, how many unicorns are there only in the blockchain space? Because the technology allows you to really tokenize, to reward. Also, it's an institution. An institution remains exactly where it is. Other technologies will come and go, other people will come and go, but the institution always remains, just like our university or the government. That institution never changes. People change, paradigms change, but institutions never change. And that's what I felt. And that is a revolution because no other technology brings to the table what blockchain does. Look at the good side of it all the time. There's always a dark side, but then well, who doesn't have or what doesn't have a dark side?
Yeah, absolutely. And I once heard this interesting story that revolutionary technology has initially always been used by the gangsters, right? If you go back to the V8 engine, car engine, right, in New York, where it was apparently invented, the police could not catch up with the gangsters. They were leveraging these high horsepower, super fast cars just to get away from the police, right? And there's so many stories around that where initial revolutionary technology has been very much welcomed by the so-called darker side, but then,
Yes.
being more and more mainstream adopted and leveraged for the benefit of anyone else. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also because, anything new, any new, I think technology, no rules, no regulations.
Yeah.
So youngsters have no problem with regulatory or non-regulatory things. They know how to get past it. And that's why the regulations are really critical to come in. And it has to be not just an effort of one nation. It has to be a complete global effort. There have to be global standards as well.
Awesome. When we also spoke earlier this month, you mentioned that you're very big in educating talent, building talent and capacity in the Indian market.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit what you're doing in this space, and particularly, I'm raising this topic because I read today that in the US, in the next fall of the university starts, they will have 10 unis. They will teach entirely only in the metaverse.
Yes.
A full curriculum. And the professors entirely will teach exclusively only in the metaverse.
On the metaverse,
now,
you're right.
It is absolutely fascinating, where learning goes, but also where talent development goes. So share with me what you're doing.
Yes, I think, when I came, I said in 2018, I said, since nobody understands what I'm talking about, let's educate them. And that's where my journey started in the education space. Also, I believe that if a technology has to have proper adoption across the nation, we need to have people who actually can work on the technology. You can have a great technology lying in the box, nobody's using it. People are talking about it, nobody using it. So I said, let's start. And I started setting up what is known as these centers of excellence in these universities, where I would teach them. I wrote a few courses. I've written maybe about a dozen in the last 2 years and about 10 before that, maybe about 20 odd courses I've written myself. So I started teaching them. Then I got a certification body to certify my courses because everybody wants certification as a fine, great. Knowledge is not everything. They say we need somebody to prove that we've done it. All right, not a problem. I got it certified by a North American body. And I came back and said, listen, guys, will you work on projects? They said, yes. So I formed this alliance, India Blockchain Alliance, where we have a lot of these partners, international partners, local partners, which have blockchain projects or blockchain, fintech, DeFi, metaverse, Web3, lots of projects. So I bring some part of it to the university as well and get these guys to make their hands dirty, because you have got to have a lot of hands-on experience. Then I help them, get on-job training, internships, let them get work or, hungry, and then try and help them get good jobs in the markets. And there are plenty of them right now. In fact, the latest report of the Indian body called NASSCOM, which actually is a consortium for all the IT companies, in this latest report said, India has right now about 50,000 crypto jobs. That by 2030 will become 800,000.
Wow.
That's a big number moving forward in just another 8 years. We need 100,000 kids every year joining mainstream, and that's just the prediction today. It's definitely going to change. I've seen the projects happening. I've seen what's happening. So I said, if we don't have a resource pool, we are going to really struggle. So I'm creating the resource pool for the nation, right from developers, architects, right up to community managers, project managers, every analyst, everyone under the sun. There are so many different opportunities which blockchain gives us. So we're trying to make India the next Nalanda, which is one of the largest universities of blockchain. Nalanda was a university, by the way, where people from all over the world used to come and study. So my endeavor is to do the same thing in India. Right now, I work with more than 60 to 70 different universities and colleges pan-India. And the numbers keep growing. I'm happy about that. I'm glad people are adopting and understanding blockchain for the value it brings to a nation. It has a socio-economic impact, and I think education is critical. Also, education is critical when people ask me, do I invest in Bitcoin? Guys, get aware, get educated, and decide for yourself whether it's a good investment or not. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, do your own research, right? It's always funny when the
ask me.
Yeah, when the markets are pumping, my phone is ringing like every 10 minutes, or I'm getting WhatsApps or what have you. Do I need to buy this? Do I need to buy that? And when the markets are dumping, you hear absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So get aware, get educated, dive into the sea only when you know how to swim.
Totally. Yeah, words. Totally. Hey, you touched a little bit about how many jobs you're seeing by 2030 being created in India, and it also kind of reminds me of the 1980, 1998, 1999 internet kind of craziness, right? Whoever could spell internet got a highly paid job, and at the end of the day, half these companies or even more disappeared and were never seen again. Let's fast forward a little bit. Where do you see the entire blockchain use cases and business cases develop to? Because at the end of the day, you need to solve a real world problem. Otherwise, there's no.
Absolutely. Yeah. See, a very simple example, Asaf, is about 2 years back.
Yeah.
I was working in about a dozen use cases. And happily so, those were early adoptions. Today, I'm working on more than 47 use cases. That's a lot of use cases in the blockchain space and growing. So I think there has been a major shift in a lot of people's mindsets. It's also a mindset shift, because you need to have a mindset shift completely. Because people say, hey, everything is going on fine. Why do I need blockchain? I mean, everything is fine. It's all fine till something hits you. Then it's not fine. So when I said in the beginning, about a dozen use cases, supply chain, etc. Mostly in supply chain, finance. Well, finance was the early adopter of, obviously. And then finance. But then now today, whether it's a lottery, whether it's utilities, renewable energy, the retail sector, the travel sector, luxury tourism, you name it, it's all there. There are application areas for everything. And that's the good part. Today, people tell us even, okay, after crypto, the next, everybody says, oh, the NFT bubble. Is NFT for real? Is it going to be there? Well, NFT is also applicable in real world use cases. Let's just understand that. Instead of just saying it's a collectible, everything is not a collectible. You can collect, yes, fine. That's one aspect of it. It's just one use case of what NFT can do. It's the new way of looking at things. It's a new paradigm coming in. The metaverse, as you said, ever since Facebook changed its name to Meta, oh, there has been everybody. It's like a gold rush, It's like a gold rush. But guys, don't be fooled. There's also a lot of fool's gold there. So don't be only suckered into that, right? Listen, guys, everything is not. Well, we're talking together as part of a metaverse because we're not together physically, but we're talking to each other. Oh, it's a little bit of the metaverse we were already experiencing. We just build a nice perception around it, a lot of hype around it. Yes. However, let's cut through the hype and let's have a look at what it can really do. Real world use cases can also be done in the metaverse. Education, as Asaf was saying, you said, is exactly one such. Recently, I've just made a whole metaverse for the legal fraternity, for that matter, where they have a courtroom where they can it's a moot court, they can actually study, there's a library, they can go through everything in the metaverse and can actually pitch their skills against other guys from there in a court in the metaverse. Now, that can be done for everything. And I'm doing a lot of work. I'm doing for the metaverse. It can be done for the banking sector. I'm putting for the banking sector where people can actually learn them. Even youngsters in schools can learn how to do banking and how the process works right from there, having real world experiences. That's also a use of the metaverse. It's not just for buying some fancy land and having bragging rights that I've got. All right, I own the pyramids in Gaza. No, guys, it's so much more. It's so much more. And that, I think, is what we need to teach the next generation. Listen, guys, it's not while you have your fun and games, you might as well make some real world use cases out of it as well. So plenty working on there. The Meta Bank, which you guys are making also, it's fantastic. It's a financial district. It's something which is of a real use case. Yeah. I can name hundreds of them, but we'll run out of time. So I'll just stick to this right now.
Awesome. Good. Thanks so much for sharing that, Raj. Just to sum up, and I might put some words into your mouth, right? And correct me if I got it wrong. So I understand that you're predicting that the CBDC in India will be happening, and it's just one of the many countries that will be following, and that you're super positive about that, and that you see a very bright future.
Yeah. I have a prediction for 2030. I believe that by 2030, almost every country globally will either have its own CBDC or would have adopted a CBDC.
Okay.
The CBDC is not going anywhere. Just 10 years back, nobody thought about the Google Pays and Apple Pays. Nobody thought about it 10, 15 years back. Look at it today, it's mainstream, right? So it's the same way. The next few years, we'll see a major movements in the CBDC space. And of course, India is doing that. Jamaica is doing it. A lot of countries are experimenting with it. Nigeria has already launched it. And as I said, we are at the beginning of a major revolution in that space. It's not going to replace other currencies, other cryptos, but it's going to be a very strong add-on from a government perspective. Traceable, absolutely transparent. Yes, all great stuff happening there.
Awesome. That was an absolutely great conversation, Raj. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I definitely learned from you. And I am super keen to keep up our relationship and maybe do a second session another time.
Anytime.
45 seconds, Raj. What are your parting words to the audience today? Ready, steady, go.
All right, my parting words. Love whatever you're doing, even if it's not blockchain, but if it's blockchain, even better. Get in touch with me if you want to know more. That's it. I love the space. I'm passionate. Be passionate. Don't be speculative. Be revolutionary. Don't go for speculation. Go for the revolution.
Thanks so much, Raj. Once again, we highly appreciate that you spent the time with us today. I know you're a very busy man. Good luck. I know you need to join some other calls. And thanks so much. Let's keep in touch. And thanks for the audience for being with us today. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, folks. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.